So we're back here wrapping up the last segment here on the Duncan Duo Show. When we aren't on air, follow us on social media at The Duncan Duo. Visit our website, theduncanduo.com. If you're someone who looked to sell your home a couple of years ago and you, didn't have enough equity or concerned about your home value, maybe you couldn't sell then because of what you owed, check out TampaBayHouseValue.com. Type in your address, get a free home value estimate and a monthly market report so you know what's going on and know which homes in your neighborhood are selling. So homeownership has hit a 50-year record low, and it's interesting how political this becomes when you talk about this, because there are people that will say, "Oh, we got to do what we can to get homeownership up. We got to fabricate things to make homeownership higher." And then you have the people that say, "You know what? Look, it's natural to have homeownership low like this because there's a certain segment of people that don't want to and shouldn't be homeowners." And then there's a certain amount of people that say, "You know what, I want to be a landlord. I want to own rental property. I want to rent to people." But Michael, I'm sure you can probably elaborate on this, but I think when we get involved in the let's increase the homeownership percentage, bad things happen.
We did it already, didn't we?
Yeah.
What
happened?
Well. Yeah. No,
what happened to that? Yeah.
It's definitely, we need to make sure you get the right borrowers qualified. I don't think that everybody should own a home, and they're coming to our office all the time trying to qualify. It's just not, they're just not prepared to do it.
Yeah,
so,
I
saw something the other day that most American families can't afford a catastrophe and afford a month.
Right.
So they're that tight. So we don't need everybody to own a home.
And yeah, certainly if you're in that kind of position, owning a home is not the right move.
Exactly.
And Lewis, I'm sure you've seen it too. There are people that just that shouldn't own a home and that should rent, and there are people that want to own rental property that have the capability of being a better landlord than that person could be as an owner.
Absolutely. And then there's the other side. We were just at R4, the RE/MAX convention, and the millennials, my group, I guess you'd say, have more of a fear of commitment or getting married later, having kids later, so they don't have a need to buy a house right now.
Right.
And they're traveling more for work. They're willing to go places. They're not setting down roots, and that's also causing the less homes to be owned.
Yeah, and because they just choose to not view that as part of their life plan. It's not like they don't, and it's not that they view it negatively, but it's not like something like, I think, I was raised on, owning your own home is kind of like, part of the American dream. You want to accomplish it, and I don't think millennials see that or think that because they lived through the crash.
Correct.
And they're like, I don't want to go near that thing. I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to crash. So they're super, super conservative about their money, and they don't want to take that plunge.
Yeah, and then there's also I think a good example would be South Tampa. It's a lot of people or millennials want to live there, but they can't necessarily afford to own there yet. Yeah. So they would rather rent, no matter how long that takes, until they can purchase there, just so they get the location.
It's funny, I saw in the article they talked about after the crisis, lenders tightened all this stuff up, and the way they worded it almost made it seem like, that they provoked the drop in home ownership. Well, yeah, they did, because the percentage that you want to be homeowners wouldn't pay their damn bills. Right. Of course they shouldn't own a home. Why would you give them a home just to increase some percentage? They got to qualify,
Exactly.
The rise in student debt, people mentioned as a factor, big factor.
Yeah, factor.
Schools have gotten so much more expensive, and people just, take out more debt. I think also, limited income growth has been something people have talked about a lot, as causing a hindrance on that. People's income not rising at the rates that would support more home ownership. And we'll see if President Trump does anything to help improve some of those things. It's obviously his philosophy that reducing taxes will have a huge impact on that, and will increase incomes and free up money, and all these types of things. And we haven't seen that. We haven't had that experience in a long time. So it'll be curious to see what ends up happening with it. And then the pace of household formation decreased sharply. Up until very recently, people were having less kids, less people were getting married. All those types of things, so that the single person doesn't feel the need to have a home. They want to kind of be, do their thing. And
yeah, I think it goes back to the economy being down. The millennials are slowed down a few years because of the job part.
Yeah. More cautious.
Yeah.
And cautious as well.
And it's interesting because I remember when I was, buying my first home, I was early to mid-20s, And I remember thinking, that's about the time that you should, kind of start looking to buy your first home. And I knew people that were younger than me buying homes, and buying their first home. And now I look at it, and it's like people, buying their first home are significantly older than I was when I bought my first home. Like when I look across and I meet some of our first-time home buyer customers, or I see the video testimonials that our customers do for us, I'm seeing, I'm a first-time home buyer, and I'm like, that guy looks like my age, but it's because it has pushed that. It's pushed that age up.
And that's okay though. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
The better
It is,
buyer,
yeah.
the stronger.
And it's funny you say, because I have a completely different perspective. I'm 29. I bought my first home in September, and one of our agents on our team, he's 24. He just got married, but he bought a house last year.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, you just bought a house?
Which was the norm.
Yeah. And
back.
to me, I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, really?
So maybe the really young side of the millennials will help bring that back in a different direction. So